Well, this is Alan Cleveland, good friend of mine, been on our leadership board for years, no longer, but for many years through a lot of our projects. And when I came, this is the first spot I was at, but I know Alan, he became a believer when he was a teenager, but actually started attending Grace when it was on Birdseye and Collingwood when he was a young man. Isn't that right?
Yeah, in fact, how I got involved with Collingwood Boulevard is it was Christmas time, and my brother, Nelson, invited me to come see his kids in a Christmas play.
Oh, wow.
And we never left.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah, we had our first daughter then, and so we've been a member of the church since then.
Well, that's fantastic.
Yeah.
I know, so that was, what, late 60s?
Yes, 69.
69. And then in the 70s, even though the church there was maybe around 250 people, you guys took this big step of buying 17 acres here on Smith Road.
Yes.
You remember that?
Yeah, well, I remember my wife, Sue, and I were teaching a Sunday school class to 1 and 2-year-olds, I think, maybe 3-year-olds. And we decided that we needed to bring the kids out to this area to show them what we were going to do. So the bus driver, and I think it was Jim Soul at the time, had came out and laid 2x6s through this muddy field.
From Smith Road to here.
From Smith Road to here. And we lined all the kids up on the 2x4s so they didn't fall in the mud. And we said, we are going to build a church here. And we did. And that's how it all started here on Smith Road.
That's great. So 1977 is when they built here. This used to be a slanted floor. I remember that part, and pews. And then this was a gym originally.
Yes.
And then there was a kitchen. But then they tore that, they built the gym, what we're going to look at next. They tore this wall down.
Yes.
And then this became more seating for the auditorium. And then we had right here in the middle the what?
Cattle chute.
The cattle chute, that's right. And then risers going up both sides, but a walkway right through here where you'd see people up there, and this wall just kind of came down on either side. I remember the cattle chute, the cattle chute.
Yep.
Our soundboard was right up here, and that's why we have so many doors here, is this was the main entrance. Everybody came in this way into the auditorium. So we've turned this space, of course, this used to be a kitchen, and this was the exterior wall right here, right?
Right here. Yep.
And then you were here in, I think it was 87, 89, 88, 89, somewhere in there. I think I always consider 89 maybe when they actually got in to this gym.
To this gymnasium, yes.
And a lot of the people helped to make that happen, right?
Oh, yeah. It wasn't all contractors. There was a lot of people in the church that had mechanical skills, concrete skills, and things like that, and we had a lot of volunteer time went into this addition.
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah.
And here just last year, we were able to finish our project in converting this, which gave this, to me, a much needed update in here, but great bones to work with. I mean, this 2-story classrooms all around the gym, just a great idea. And then we were able to kind of add some glass, and of course the ship play area and the octopus, still using all of our classrooms, but it's just been a huge win for us as we've kind of updated that. A couple projects that we're just going to finish up as part of our EO3 is these 2 bathrooms, but that's happening soon. It's all in the planning stages.
We really built this area as a fellowship hall, okay, and the classrooms definitely were a plus with that. But our whole church used to just meet in here for communions and special events and things.
I remember one time our power went out on a Sunday morning, and we quickly got all the folding chairs in the building and set them up here because of those windows. We had light in here.
That's
and
right.
Held our church service in here because it was too dark in there.
Yeah.
This was a great fellowship space. And then, as our church continued to grow, I know you were on the board at this time. We were about 600. I think we averaged 602 people
Yeah.
the year we decided we're going to build a 1,000-seat auditorium right here.
And we were never going to fill it as far as I was concerned.
It was kind of a long shot because, we're 600
Yeah.
saying we're going to build a 1,000-seat auditorium. We really had to think about that. We were going over plans about adding a balcony.
Yes.
And it wasn't cost efficient. And we finally said we should just do this. That was a huge step for our church.
There's a friend of mine and yours, and I'm not going to mention his name, but he will remember this if he sees this video. And he said, "Oh, ye of little faith."
That's right. That's right. And we came into this space. Of course, it looked a lot different then. Everything was white. We sort of modeled it after our other service. But one of our big selling points is, hey, we're going to build this new church and be in one service, because we were in multiple services.
Yep.
But then that didn't last all that long.
A little elbow room now? No? Already no? Well, there's not as much extra room in here as we thought, is there? This only seats 1,000. I guess we should have went bigger. I don't know. But anyway, has God blessed us or what?
No, and then you had to go to 2 services.
Then we had to go to 2 services. And so this really helped us to grow. It's a great space. And you had a unique role as we built this, Alan, because you were sort of our contractor, our representative, our project manager, as we worked with a company called Janata and Herner to build this building. And you had just retired before that, and you put in some major time on looking at every detail as we were building this building. Do you remember that?
Oh, yeah, it was a big undertaking. I'd had some experience in a previous job doing a couple $1 million renovation, but nothing like this.
Yeah.
Yeah. Somebody was telling me there was 54 pages of blueprints for this building.
I remember going through some of those with you, and I was always amazed at your attention to detail on just pulling all this stuff together. It was just amazing. So this was 2002
Yes.
That we completed this. I think it was right before Easter, around Easter Sunday. Huge celebration. And again, it wasn't long before we were in 2 services. And of course, the next thing was our addition this way,
Yeah.
where we decided, hey, we need more space. And we also wanted some adult classroom space and a cafe.
Yeah.
And so we did all that and just came out here to the west side and built that. And then, of course, we turned to you again to say, hey, Alan, can you help us lead this project? We were with a different company then. It was actually the Klaus
Company.
Construction. And so we contracted with them. They were our winning bidder that time. And we added this, the cafe, the quad space, this room. Loved this room. We kind of insisted on the tall ceiling. We thought that would be better, in all the way they moved the walls. When you open everything up, it just seemed like you need a higher ceiling.
Yeah.
It just turned out fantastic. Got a good deal. Tell me if I'm wrong. Tell me whatever you remember about it. What I remember is ahead of schedule, under budget. That's what I remember.
Yes.
So, and a lot of that's attributed to your leadership, and appreciate you and your work on that, Alan.
I think it was the Lord.
Yeah, well, I think it was God. You're exactly right. It was God. But God uses people, and God used you multiple times. And of course, this was 2009 when we were in here. And then our next big move as our church continued to grow was down here at the new gym. And that was completed for us, I think, in 2016.
Yes.
And that was KF Ventures, and they did an amazing job. But and you remember, you were kind of advising us on this one. I don't remember that you were quite as involved as you were in the other two.
It was Craig Miller and I.
That's right. But it's been an amazing space for us. And then also a place, because this is actually bigger than our other gym, where like on some of our special Sundays, we can actually get most of our people into this room for around tables and stuff like that. Mainly, I'm thinking about communion and then Good Friday service, stuff like that, where we all fit.
Well, and there was a thrust when we started this building. Me mentally was thinking this is just going to be a big gymnasium rec hall. And not realizing till we got deeper and deeper into the project that we were going to have a high school and a middle school classrooms here, because I was concerned that the gymnasium goalposts in there were not far enough apart.
Okay.
And that was the smallest thing that we had to be concerned about.
Yeah.
But look what we've done since then and how we've grown. And this is a building for the future.
Yeah, it's
All
great.
these kids.
And at this point, as our church continued to grow, we started thinking, you know, hey, maybe we ought to be looking harder at campuses and stuff. That's when we started thinking, hey, we're looking at Tiffin with people at Northwood. That was a church that was down to about a dozen people. They gave us their building. We rehired Harold to come in and take over that. That kind of paused us on Tiffin for a little while. Then we got back onto our Tiffin idea because we knew we had a couple hundred people coming from Tiffin, which seemed a little unusual.
Yep.
Alan, I just kind of wanted to get your perspective on, you've been here through a lot of building campaigns. You've been here through a lot of growth in our church. You've been on the leadership side for most of those years. And just thinking, what's your perspective on Grace and what we think God is calling us to do now with not only getting Sandusky launched, but also kind of jumping this hurdle that we have right now in Tiffin with the lack of seating. Just any thoughts in general?
Well, my first thought is when I seen the massive growth that Tiffin has had from the get-go, you know, we didn't
Started with a boom.
It just started and it just bloomed, and I just have a heart burden to say they need a large auditorium.
Yeah.
And they probably need classrooms and all of that. And I just would, I guess, beg the people, the parishioners of this church, that it's time to grow.
Yeah.
And it's time to spread your wings. It's time to build.
Yeah.
And don't be of little faith.
Yeah.
See what God has done in Fremont, Ohio.
Would you have imagined that, you know, this would have happened? You know, now we're a church in 3 locations, soon to be 4. We run on a good Sunday, 3,000 people in the seats. What's your thoughts about that? Would you have ever guessed that? I mean, how did you look, you know?
Kevin, I'm the person that had little faith. I'm the person that had little faith. I didn't think we'd ever fill this.
Yeah, you.
I didn't think we'd ever fill this, more or less build a building like this when we were at Collingwood.
Yeah.
You know, the Lord took a hold of us on Collingwood and gave us the insight that we needed to be a light in the community. And we just need to be thankful for that, need to bless Him for that. And I think personally in Tiffin, or even in Northwood, okay, if we build a building, they're going to come. Yeah.
It seems to be that way, that God has allowed us to impact people and have an effective ministry. And if we have the faith to take the step, God's always there to bless that. You can't ever outgive God.
No.
And God's been good to us.
Yes, He has.
I appreciate your ministry to our church through the years, and we're glad you're with us.